What's up, fam? How the hell are we? What's going on? It's the 12th of November.
Howdy doody.
Fuck, this year's gone fast, hey?
Yeah, but like, oh, what a year.
Whoa.
What a year.
You know, I say this now, the year's gone fast, but there is a good 3 months there where I didn't do much except watch Gilmore Girls and drink natty wine. You know what I mean?
Listen, for anyone that hasn't been listening to any of these podcasts, I can tell you firsthand that it hasn't just been that 3 months that Pearl has been watching Gilmore Girls and drinking natty wine. It may have intensified and there would have been a shorter gap between binges, no doubt.
I did not sign up to this podcast for hard truths. Okay?
Well, I don't know what the last 25 episodes have been about then.
True that.
Hey guys, Cairo here, Pearl Money on the other side of this little recording. Things are going all right, P-Muns.
Things are really good.
We're both doing voiceovers. I've got my little home studio set up, my little ISO box from Sweden, yeah. They know how to get rid of the ambient noise and the atmosphere on the outside of the area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need a bit of that.
I'll send you a picture, everyone. And you've been crushing it doing some voiceovers too.
I have. I'm getting at least 2 a week at the moment, which is sick. I'm doing some big jobs as well.
Yeah, you're a working girl.
Yeah, I changed my voiceover. This is what they say. They say structure your voiceover demo for the kind of jobs that you want. So I started structuring it for the jobs that are worth more money.
There's a lesson in that for everyone out there.
Yeah,
That's
totally.
clever. Find the market and go for it.
Yeah, well, the thing is about projecting the. This applies to like music as well. For instance, like my friend Morgan always tells me, she's like, if you want to be expensive, you have to act expensive, and I'm like, bitch, I am not.
Yeah,
but I get it. I got to start thinking about the branding and who the type of person that I'm projecting into the world.
be more bougie.
That's a great life lesson, great hot tip.
You're a little bit more Macklemore, and we need a little bit more Glamour.
Do you want to see what my co-star says today?
No, that one got nothing. I winged that. That was all right.
You really need to get co-star.
Oh, okay. So Pearl's going to give us her.
I'm not really into like.
What
I'm
is
into
it?
like real astrology, not like commercialized astrology. When they're like, "You're gonna cry today," and it's like, "Yeah, well, I cry pretty much every day." So
Isn't it funny
thanks
that
for
you
telling me something I don't know?
Gilmore Girls that makes her cry. Hey, isn't it funny that needs to be a thing that you tell people? Hey, just so you know, it's not that kind of astrology.
Yeah, totally. That is a weird thought. Hey, yeah, because I used to always roll my eyes at people who were like, who would want to like read my star sign. I'd be like, well,
yeah. Or look at my palm and be like, oh, and you're like, wait, what do you mean? Like,
I also don't want to lose the magic in the palm reading side of things. It's like, I'm very cynical and I try to be open-minded and optimistic about, and there's something lovely about someone thinking that they can read your palm. I don't know if they can.
But the thing about
bullshit.
The thing about palm reading is like, show me the degree. There's no one sitting in an office go with me, with the thing on the wall saying studied at Harvard.
Totally.
Certified palm reader.
Totally.
Like, they're always on a street or in a very rundown little shack.
Next
and
to
I'm
a bin.
telling you, if that business was accurate, these people would not be living like that.
Totally, but there's this really beautiful scene in
Or is the mystery around it something that...
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. This is what changed my mind about it. Was like, there's this really beautiful scene in this like amazing trilogy called Before Sunrise, and it's the first film trilogy.
Lord of the Rings.
No.
I was going to be like, okay,
It's
keep
my
going.
favorite trilogy.
Yeah, keep going.
No, so Before Sunrise, and there's this moment where they're sitting at a coffee shop in Vienna, and this woman comes up to them, and they've just walked down cobblestone streets and they're talking about life. They've literally just met on the train, on the Eurorail. And this woman comes up to her and reads the palm, and the girl goes, sure, why not? Like, just let her do it. And then the guy's like, oh, but it's full of shit. And it's like, well, hang on a second. Like, who is it offending more, the palm reader or you as a person for having a problem with it?
No,
like,
100% the
you know what I
person
mean?
taking the problem with it. For sure.
Yeah. So I just thought this is like this nice little moment where it's like, you know what, just let them do it, whatever.
Yeah. But I guess for me, I've just never really delved into what the parameters are of the lines.
Oh, don't get me wrong, I think it's full of shit. But like
great movie though.
But like it's romantic. Like it's like the idea of palm reading is romantic, you know.
All right. Yep. Yeah, I'll give you that.
Imagine being in a foreign country and having like, someone come and read your palm.
You reckon that phones and technology, oh God, we've been talking about this for a bit now. It's either psychology or technology with you and me.
Soz.
No, I'm not apologetic about it.
I'm more the psychology thing. You're more the technology
Well,
thing.
we've got some, contrasting opinions on a few things that have spread the line.
If you can't come to terms with yourself, others will suffer the same twists of your structure. Oh, true.
Yeah.
You've been feeling that. Don't you reckon?
Yeah, that probably applies to me too.
If you can't come to terms with yourself, yeah.
Totally.
You start just shitting on everyone else.
Yeah.
And making everyone else's life
down with
up.
you.
Yeah. I got to stop doing that.
Could ya?
Got to get a grip.
Girl, get a grip.
Girl, you better work. You better get co-star.
You better work. Yeah, so, yeah. Look, I would rather
But this is what you were telling me.
co-star every day and send it to me.
Nah, that's not how it works. You have to like make an account.
I think your interpretation.
You're the one that got me into like real astrology.
Oh, whoops.
I'm not really into it. I just downloaded this
No,
app.
that was that North Indian. You know what? Actually, okay. Let's do it.
That's why we were doing it.
Hey, all right, let's have some fun here. Let's have some fun. This beat is sick. Sorry, you know those trigger words when you say them and then you have to sing the lyrics of the part of the song.
It's better when you just skim past them without the explanation.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so like I think true. It's not funny if you have to explain it. Hey, so maybe like 4 months ago when I started doing the phone repairs stuff.
Yeah.
For a little bit of a, little extra coinage, I realized that when I met this guy, absolutely lovely Persian fella, probably been in Australia maybe 6 years, just unloaded a little bit on me sort of a little earlier than I thought the relationship had gotten to. Yeah. And that's fine.
Before you were ready.
Yeah, before I was I hadn't had my second coffee yet. I wasn't quite ready for that. But anyway, he kind of delved into a few things, said a few things that I was like, and then said a few things that I was like, ooh. So there was a little bit of and he got me onto this North Indian astrology thing, and I was like, yeah, all right, go on. Here's my birth date. Here's my location of birth, and and he talked, and then he's like, okay, so it's all about where the planets were at the time you were born. And I was like, well, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
That's a bit of all right. Anyway, he sort of reaffirmed a couple of things that I already knew, that I've been capable of falling on my feet pretty regularly, and a few other things that are true to majority of my life. But there was one thing, he started talking about the lotto, and then I started going, hang on a second, like how can you connect the two and this sort of thing? Start talking about all these numbers you can align yourself with and whatever. But I sort of said to him, well, isn't there other ways that you can sort of fall into money and be fortunate without having to try to chase it so much? Because I feel like if you chase that lotto win, that high of winning a dramatic amount of money or working your way all the way to the top, gotta get to the top, kids, saying. Like, I just don't know if you lose sight of the little things along the way, or maybe the little bits of amounts of money that equate to certain values of things that you then use further on in life. So,
yeah, I mean,
your phone and your responsibilities to certain things and how longevity you get out of that, as opposed to having those little wins. But anyway, regardless of where I started to go at the end there, it was fascinating that he kind of like told me that this, and I was like...
Well, I think
Checks out.
I kind of found where you started to go in to quite interesting. But I think that really depends on like an individual's philosophy, because really, I think this is so lame that I'm going into this, but I think it's Epicurean.
Do it.
Says it. That is like, there's only, I can only remember 2 of them, but it's like family and like connections of people and like where you are is worth so much more than like money.
For sure.
But it just depends on what you value. And
yeah, and at different points in your life too. I mean, certain things can trigger certain
and
other
money,
things.
let's face it, like, you know, it's easy to say like money doesn't buy you happiness, but there is a certain amount that makes you comfortable.
Provides a level of comfort.
Yeah, that provides security.
For sure.
And that that to me matters, like for my mental health. I think the fact that I can support myself. Wow, girl, this was about astrology.
Ooh, child. But did some of the astrology that you've discovered along the way help you reaffirm who you are as a person so you don't take it out on others by being independent and being able to make financial decisions on your own?
I found it really interesting to say like what your worst character type is and what your best character type is. And like one of the things that it reaffirmed was that like I have quite an abrasive personality, and if I can piss people off quite easily. And it's like a tendency to push people away, I think was like, and that is that. But then on the flip side of that, my personality, when I meet the right people, connect with the right people, it's like
the bullshit meter.
Anyway.
So based on that, do you feel like because you acknowledge the abrasive personality that you're able to curb that at all?
Yeah, well, I always knew it, you know. I just
There you go, Mum.
But it was interesting to
That should be the only one listening.
But I suppose it's interesting now to just like be aware of it and to watch how I affect other people. And I think it's just having a greater sense of awareness, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, like for instance, I've been the worst over the last few months, just like dealing with all my shit. And like, I'm aware that you have been collateral damage throughout the whole thing. Like you've been like, come on, just show up, or like, just do this or just do this. And I'm like, I'm aware that I have like a bare minimum of things that I have to bring to the table. And I'm aware that I'm not. And I'm aware that I keep digging a hole. And I'm not sure how to get out of it right now.
The sheer stubbornness you and me can exude at times towards either each other or whatever is just absolutely counterproductive.
Yeah.
To anything we do collaboratively.
Yeah, it can really affect us collaboratively. I noticed that when you're even a little bit frustrated at me, I even more so can't do what I'm supposed to do, but I'm aware that I'm the one that's made you frustrated in the first place. Like,
for not doing the thing that Yeah. But I think that's, well, look, I mean, it's just more of a point where it's like, I don't want to keep doing that, but obviously you were going through something as well. So there was a complete and utter explanation for it. But
you got to give...
Yeah, it probably could have been built up on the fact that we'd had a lot of that music sitting there for so long and we just couldn't seem to pull the trigger.
Yeah, we just couldn't get it done.
But we got 2 new fucking tasty
We actually
bangers.
went into the studio the other day.
We record some vocals over the top of some instrumentals that
it was really good.
up, and we chopped them all together, didn't we?
It sounds great.
They sound phenom. Definitely touching on that noughties vibe. And we also, I don't know if we touched on this in the podcast, but we maybe decided after the last EP that 2 of the tunes might have been a little too indie. Was that the vibe that I was picking up the other day?
Yeah.
When it was like, okay, we went too kind of, I guess...
we wanted to blend 2 worlds
electro.
together, but instead we kind of like did half the EP was one thing and half the EP was another. In my eyes, in hindsight. And so now we're going to keep more to that kind of like electro noughties, like real. I think it's also just the way that those songs were mixed as well, that they just needed a little bit more oomph.
Papa
to take a seat at the table. You know what I mean?
Yeah, to really get them up and about.
Yeah.
I think I've got all those project files. They're just all over the shop. So if there ever comes a point where we perform all of this stuff in some capacity,
we might have to go back to the drawing board.
We might have to work out what that all looks like. However, the other 2 newer ones, we can manipulate that, pull some vocals out, so that it's not the whole singing, but there's enough of you singing. Because Yeah, we'll work it out.
We'll get there.
But you
I
know
can
what?
definitely see these new songs, though. We were just listening to them after a few days of having a break.
Fresh ears.
And came back to it. And I was like, God damn, I can just see an audience. I
Romper.
can just see an audience heaving
Just
like
either,
at a festival.
Either bang-ganging, birding, shuffling, and
fun.
what were some of the other things that we used to do?
I wants to do that.
I want to do all the things in the club again.
Yeah.
What?
Shuffling, bang-ganging.
Yeah. What? You've been playing a few gigs, actually.
I actually have.
You did a Sloan Peterson show the other night? And
I
you've
did.
got something else coming up, don't you?
Yeah, I've got a gig next week at Boogie Mountain, but then
Boogie Mountain?
Boogie Mountain.
Now, hang on a second. Just let me ask a quick question. Question. Hey, gotten better.
Do you need me for this conversation?
Probably not. Hey, where's Boogie Mountain? And is that where it's named officially, or is that something someone has called it for this particular show?
No, Boogie Mountain is in the Cross, and it used to be, I can't tell you what it used to be.
Okay.
If I asked.
Do you know where it is? I might.
Yeah, it's kind of like up from McDonald's a bit on the corner.
Empire? Upstairs at Empire?
God damn.
Kit and Caboodle?
Yes, Kit and Caboodle.
Upstairs Kit and Caboodle.
Yes. It used to be Kit and Caboodle, and now it's called Boogie Mountain. There we go.
Kit and Caboodle was a doozy of a
Well, we
venue.
actually went to Boogie Mountain for like a naughties throwback night, last year before all this COVID stuff happened. And it was like, gosh, you should have seen the people that came out of the woodworks. Like all that crowd of people who just were around during like that iconic era of music for Sydney and Australia.
Which period, sorry?
We're talking about the noughties. Like, as in like electro, like 2007 kind of vibes. This was last year.
ago.
Pat Stevenson put it on.
Right.
Should have invited you.
You should have told me.
Soz.
Soz about it now.
Soz about it.
Yeah. That sounds like fun. Boogie Mountain.
Yeah, so I got a
you're
gig
playing
there.
at that.
And then I've got one at the Beach Road, which is fun because that one's actually going to be 150 people, which is actually a lot of people in this day and era.
That's almost cap.
Well, Well, actually, we could have 300 in the room, but some people wouldn't be able to see the stage, I think.
Oh, you can't do that.
Yeah, and that doesn't make sense. You can't get people to buy tickets when they can't even see the stage.
Totally.
That's not a thing.
That's not a thing.
Yeah, we're just definitely ending the year with a bang. Had 5 or 6 gigs, and I'm kind of leaves me going, where to next? What's going on next year, hey? People are touring again.
Yeah.
Got a couple
Things
of
are opening
friends who
up.
have like got some tour posters and like
good.
hitting up the East Coast. And I'm like, yeah, dog. Next week, I'm being flown to Brisbane for the day.
Squeeze me?
Yeah.
What for?
To sing, to perform at this gig.
Is that border open?
Yeah.
Oh.
Must be.
Well, sounds it.
Yeah.
Well,
sounds
I'll
it.
check that, but it sounds it.
I will. I mean, I suppose I'll find out when I get to the airport.
That's big. Well, do you want to save yourself the trip?
To the airport?
Yeah, just confirm the flight.
Well, the flight's booked.
Yeah.
So I imagine I'm going.
Look.
The flight's happening.
Look, don't leave things to the imagination, ATM.
It's not really my problem.
Oh.
It's more the problem of the person who booked it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pearl Herbert. There's that stubbornness that she spoke about letting go not 10 minutes ago. Kicking back in because of a simple phone call. Hey, I'm Cairo.
I'm stubborn.
I'm Murky Sodwaffle. That's Stubborn McGee. And we'll be with you
Next week.
same time next week.
Bye.
Catch you later.